Sir Keir Starmer, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
You must be utterly exhausted and nearly on your knees. But not much. Quite a grueling. Anyway, you're here.
Something big just happened between Prince William and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and it's the kind of thing we haven't seen in 70 years. Yesterday afternoon, Prince William was supposed to show up at a huge event. It was Commonwealth Day, and the Prime Minister was hosting a reception at Lancaster House in London. Over 300 guests were already there. Ambassadors from different countries, important people from all over the world, cameras everywhere. Everyone was ready. Then, just 15 minutes before William was meant to arrive, Kensington Palace sent a message. The Prince of Wales would not be attending. No warning, no explanation. Just a simple number. The Prime Minister's office had to scramble to explain to confused foreign leaders why Britain's future king had suddenly decided not to come. The embarrassment was instant and massive. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Palace sources are saying this wasn't because William was sick. It wasn't because of a scheduling problem. This was on purpose. William reportedly told his senior staff that he couldn't stand on the same stage as a government he believes is trying to destroy the monarchy. Those are strong words from someone who is supposed to stay completely neutral in politics. The timing makes this even bigger. Starmer's Labour government has been pushing new rules that would cut royal funding. They also want Parliament to have the power to veto royal appointments. The government calls this modernization, but people inside the palace are calling it something else. They're calling it a slow attack on the Crown's independence. Leaked documents from last month showed plans to reduce something called the sovereign grant. That's the money the royal family gets to do their work. The plans also said royals would need government approval before making major speeches or going on international trips, and William just said no, publicly, dramatically, in a way that breaks 70 years of careful royal neutrality. To understand how big this is, you need to know one thing. Working royals never make political statements. Ever. They smile. They shake hands. They work with whatever government the voters choose, even if they don't personally agree. The last time a senior royal publicly went against a sitting government was in 1956 during something called the Suez Crisis, and even that happened behind closed doors. For William to boycott a government event right in front of international media puts him in territory no future king has entered since before Queen Elizabeth II became queen. The mess that followed was instant. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy was completely blindsided. Sources confirm his office only found out about William's absence through unofficial channels, not through proper diplomatic procedure. That tells you how fast this decision was made. And it tells you how badly relations between Kensington Palace and Downing Street have fallen apart. Cabinet members who arrived at Lancaster House had to face a room full of international guests all asking the same uncomfortable question. Where is the Prince of Wales? Commonwealth leaders who were expecting to meet Britain's future king got awkward apologies from ministers instead. Ministers who clearly had no idea this was coming. The whole thing looked terrible. Commonwealth Day is supposed to show British leadership and unity. Instead, it became a public fight about the Constitution. Then, at 8 o'clock last night, William released a statement. Kensington Palace chose the words very carefully. The statement was polite in tone, but nuclear in meaning. William spoke about defending constitutional foundations, about upholding the role his family has protected for generations. He talked about maintaining the independence and dignity of the crown. That word independence is key here. Legal experts immediately pointed out what William was really saying. He's basically accusing the government of trying to make the monarchy dependent on Parliament's approval. That would turn the crown from an institution above politics into a political tool that gets kicked around by whoever is in power. According to these experts, that's not reform, that's elimination by a different name. Inside Westminster, panic is spreading. Labour MPs are privately terrified about picking a fight with the royal family, and they have good reason to be scared. Princess Catherine's approval ratings are in the high 70s. Prince William is one of Britain's most trusted public figures. Meanwhile, Starmer's government is polling in the low 30s. Going to war with royals that the public loves while your own numbers are terrible is political suicide. Even people inside Labour are breaking ranks. One backbencher, speaking anonymously, called this an unforced error. They said it's handing the opposition a gift they couldn't have dreamed up themselves. Another person described Labour WhatsApp groups as full of concern and outright panic. Nobody thought the royals would actually fight back. Now that they are, the government has no plan, and William isn't fighting alone. Sources close to other senior royals say Princess Anne is just as angry about the government's approach. Anne quietly does over 500 engagements every year without complaining or causing drama. She's reportedly furious about proposals that would cut funding for working royals. Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, is also angry. There are now serious discussions about coordinated action. Multiple royals might refuse to attend government functions until the proposals are withdrawn. Think about what that means. If senior royals boycott government events across the board, the entire system of British soft power breaks down. State dinners need royal hosts. Diplomatic receptions depend on royal presence. Honor ceremonies can't happen without royal participation. The system only works if both sides cooperate, and cooperation just ended. The British public has already chosen sides, and it's not close. Social media exploded within hours. Hashtags supporting William trended globally with millions of posts. Polling done overnight shows 68% of Britons backing William's position. Only 14% support the government pushing forward despite royal objections. Even among Labour's own voters, only 31% support Starmer on this. Those are career-ending numbers. Conservative opposition leader Rishi Sunak immediately saw the opportunity. He pledged total support for the monarchy. He promised to reverse every change if his party returns to power. Whether he means it or not doesn't matter anymore. It's working. Conservative polling jumped 7 points in 72 hours. That's their best performance since losing the election. Starmer just handed his opponents the perfect weapon. But here's the deeper problem nobody's talking about. The monarchy needs government funding. The sovereign grant comes from Crown Estate profits but requires Parliament's approval. If this fight gets worse, both sides lose everything. Royals need that funding. The government needs royal cooperation for all the ceremonial functions that make Britain's system work. This is a standoff where nobody can win. If William pushes too hard, he drags the monarchy into partisan politics. That could ultimately destroy the very institution he's trying to save. If Starmer pushes too hard, he triggers a constitutional crisis that will define and doom his entire time as Prime Minister. Constitutional experts are using words like unprecedented and dangerous. Britain's system runs on unwritten rules and mutual respect between the Crown and Parliament. When that breaks down, there's no instruction manual. The last similar situation was the abdication crisis of 1936, and that nearly ended the monarchy entirely. Nobody wants to find out what happens if we go down that road again. Professor Robert Hazel, a leading constitutional scholar, called this the most serious Crown government confrontation since World War II. He warned that both sides need to find a face-saving compromise immediately before positions become too stuck to walk back. Once lines are drawn in public, backing down becomes almost impossible. There's also the Commonwealth dimension. William has invested heavily in Commonwealth relations. He sees himself as a future bridge between Britain and dozens of member nations. 15 Commonwealth countries still have the British monarch as head of state. If William believes the government is undermining his future role or disrespecting Commonwealth traditions, that explains why he's willing to risk so much. Several Commonwealth leaders have privately backed William's stance. According to diplomatic sources, they view the British monarchy as crucial symbolic glue holding the Commonwealth together. Anything that weakens the Crown weakens the entire organization, and they're telling Starmer that loud and clear. Parliament debates royal funding reforms on Tuesday. If that goes ahead despite William's protest, expect things to get worse. If the government backs down, Starmer's own supporters will accuse him of giving in to unelected privilege, and there's no good option left. William has made his choice. Speaking out now, even if it breaks protocol, is less dangerous than staying silent while the monarchy's foundation gets dismantled piece by piece.